You're listening to Creating a Universe, a Love Anarchy podcast hosted by William J. Rogers. On this show, we follow the journey of creatives, artists, and entrepreneurs who are making a name for themselves in the ever-evolving landscape of today's industry. Featuring an insight into both Love Anarchy and the Lovaniverse music universe, as well as the individual projects and stories of each of our guests, from the music industry and beyond. So whether you're a budding creative or simply interested in what goes on behind the scenes, this is the podcast for you. Hello and welcome to Creating a Universe. I'm your host, William J. Rogers, and today I am here with creator of the Woods of Wonders, the metal opera, Gideon Ricardo. How's it going, man?
Hi, man. I'm doing fine. How about you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, man. It's great to have to be able to sit down and have this chat right now.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, man. So perhaps for anybody listening that might not be aware, would you be able to maybe start by just giving a bit of an overview of who you are and what you're doing?
My name is Gideon Ricardo, and I am the mastermind behind the metal opera Woods of Wonders, featuring over 30 guests, mainly symphonic power metal. Take a listen.
Amazing, man. Amazing. So as we're speaking now, the album's just come out and, absolutely awesome. Like, this is a huge project and it's been building up for a while, and the initial reception has been absolutely fantastic, right?
I'm really, really happy with the results. People seem to like it. It's just they think the music is great, the storytelling is great, the lyrics are somewhat good, so really happy with the results.
Awesome, man. That's really good. It's really great to see. Great to see that positive reception coming in for it, man. I mean, it's such a uplifting piece of work, I think, that you've done, and so yeah, I think that it brings very positive vibes and good energy to all those people that are enjoying it. So yeah, nicely done, man.
Thank you very much, William.
So there's all sorts. I'm really interested in discussing more with you. I mean, as I say, this is a project with a huge scope. So yeah, which ways do we start by tackling it? Like, how did you go? Like, how did this project start? How did it come about?
Well, about 2 years ago, it was just an idea I had in my mind, and I started writing some stuff on my synthesizer, on the computer as well, and never really having any plans. But then I met my fiance, Charlaine, and she pushed me into actually bringing this to life and starting to write other musicians to join me. And first, there was just a guitarist, Luigi Serrano from Arcane Tales. And then there was also Marius Danielson, Fabio Leone. Yes. And then the ball started rolling and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And then it got really, really big.
And then it got extremely big, and then it got huge, and really, really happy with the end result.
Right, cool, man, cool. So that's interesting. So yeah, it's really started with you just making a bit of music for fun, like by yourself.
Exactly.
And then as you said, it just like one thing's led to another. Obviously, a catalyst there is Charlaine, who's had a very like hands-on role in this as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Charlaine, she kicked you into gear to be like,
exactly.
Let's do something with this, and then cool. So how did you go about like how did it happen with like making these collaborations and stuff occur? I mean, you've mentioned it briefly, but if in case anybody doesn't know, like there is a lot of collaborators on this record. Like you have, as you said, like over 30 guests. I don't know how many exactly, but it's a lot of singers, like many singers that are all playing different parts in your story, but also guitarists, drummers, guest keyboard solos, and all sorts, man. So yeah, you said it kind of rolled out one at a time, but like, how did you go about finding the people, reaching out to them, working out, what part they would play? That's certainly quite interesting.
Well, at first I just wrote some music, and then I obviously I already listened to lots of metal bands, and I know lots of voices, lots of musicians, and I started writing music. And then while writing music, I started to think, well, hey, maybe this guy could sing this part, and then this guy could sing that part. And then I started reaching out to one of them. Well, some of them obviously said no, but most of them did say yes. And once I got the bigger artists like Fabio Leone and Daniel Hyman, it was so much more easy to get the bigger artists to get in touch with them as well. So,
right, okay, yes. I suppose you guys had a pretty professional approach with it then, I suppose, and yeah, and therefore by especially the more professional ones, they have their business in intact and are ready to deal with that. So yeah, that's cool, man. And but like obviously you as the composer, like you created the whole thing and you created the whole parts, and then you cast it essentially.
Exactly.
Cool.
Just like a director of some kind of movie, but just with music instead of theater.
Yeah, and it very much is that. I mean, like concept albums, obviously there's plenty of them there, and there are rock operas, metal operas, but yeah, this is very, very story orientated, and you have a lot of dialogue, narration, and stuff as well, which is very interesting, very like unique, I think, to how much you've pushed that.
Exactly. It's just something new, something you haven't heard before in any other band I know, at least. It's just something unique, something new.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a real story. How was it getting the collaborators to do like dialogue like that? Essentially like voiceover work, right? A lot of them might not have been used to that.
Well, I just sent them some vocal guide tracks, and everyone just did whatever I told them to do. So that's just a good thing. I mean, at first I thought maybe some singers would say no to that because they're vocalists and not voice actors, but everyone just did whatever they were told, and they did a hell of a job.
Cool. They certainly did. I mean, everyone was great at that on the record. Like really, really great. It sounded like all professional voice actors. I suppose it helps being a vocalist, being a singer, But yeah, I guess where they're metal singers and things as well, and they're already kind of used to the sort of maybe playing like kind of fantasy parts, things like that, I suppose came naturally. Yeah, well done, man. Like, giving people that kick to do that, and stretching it.
Thank you.
So, I'm curious as to like, did you write the entire? You said how like you were kind of making it as you went, and then you thought maybe this person can play that part. Did you have like the whole opera composed, the whole album, and then you're reaching out to people, or how did that work in terms of you developing the story and the music and everything in relation to like who's going to be on it, what parts there are, etc.?
So the thing is, I already had the storyline in mind together with Charlaine. We wrote the story together, and I already had the big plots in mind. And then I started writing songs around that plot, and then I started hearing. First I wrote some songs, and then I started hearing where those songs would fit in the story.
Yeah, right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. I'm with you.
So when I was working on the Dragon Slayer, I already knew this was the song that's had some kind of battle in it. So that's how the story of the Dragon Slayer developed.
Yeah, I see. So like, first you already had this frame of a story in mind, basically, and that meant that like any music that you made, you knew was kind of fitting somewhere into this. Yeah, and then obviously any collaborator, any guest that you reached out to, you knew that they would play some part in the story as well, and finding a suitable part.
Just like that.
Yeah, amazing. And like, and as you said, like the ball just kind of kept rolling. So like, you know, did you ever think like that you would have this many collaborators, that this many guests, this many parts? Like,
No, to be honest, no, not at all. I thought I was going to have about 10 collaborators, maybe 15. Never expected to have 30 of them.
I don't know. Like that seems like a new record to me, man. Like I'm not. I like on a recorded album. Do you have any examples of ones with more?
Maybe Arian does have some albums.
Arion has some big casts, right? But I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they have a record with over 30 guests on it. They have some with like 15 maybe, but like, yeah, I think that you guys have taken it to another level. I'm pretty sure.
Called the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I remember because I was following it from pretty early on. I came across you guys just as you like made the page and etc. And you started like announcing guests, and probably someone you announced early on was somebody that I followed or whatever. And I was following that, and then you just kept announcing more and more guests, and I kept thinking like, wow, like there's a lot of people on this, and then it just kept going and kept going. Like I couldn't believe it. But what a cast you assembled, man. I mean, amazing. And like obviously there's some big names on there, right? And some people that you would certainly associate with this genre. Power metal, symphonic metal, this metal operas, this kind of world.
Yeah.
But you've also got such an ear for the upcoming talent. Like you have some people on the record that, you know, maybe don't have big following and big presence, but like you clearly really have your ear to the ground when it comes to finding these people. Like what do you have a kind of process for like finding these bands, or just like, you know, you're clearly kind of involved in the community in that kind of way?
Well, I've always listened to new metal, unknown metal music, following various YouTube channels which upload very unknown bands instead of the more well-known bands. So
cool.
That way you can discover lots of new music, lots of new talent. I just started reaching out to some of them.
Wow, that's really cool, man. Really cool. So you just have a passion for that, right?
Yeah.
For finding new bands, new upcoming talent. That's
and one of the goals of Woods of Wonders is to give them more. How do you say it?
More of a platform.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking about that, and that's really cool, man. Like I absolutely love that, because, you know, I think that we share some philosophy there, and that, you know, we want to be able to just contribute to the scene and the community.
Exactly.
And man, there's so many like amazingly talented people out there as well, and so it is like a enriching experience to be able to, you know, bring somebody out of their, you know,
exactly, yeah,
you know, really awesome, man. So I'm curious to talk a little bit about like the story and the kind of world that you have here for Woods of Wonders. And I think you guys do a great job of telling the story actually really clearly. It's very upfront on your album, especially with all the dialogue and stuff. But perhaps you can maybe talk through the story a little bit and the world, and maybe your inspirations and such as well.
I've always loved fantasy since I was a child. So there's that, and I've always wanted to write a story myself. So I started writing some stories just in my mind, not really ever picking up a pen or sitting behind my desk and writing a story, but in my mind I have written some stories. And one of them just came to life in the Woods of Wonders, where two children are playing and then they get lost in a woods. They find a door and they step into a whole new world, far beyond the real world, the world we know. So they discover that there are dragons in there, and elves, and all sorts of creatures and magic, and also an evil creature called the Darkness, which they have to defeat.
Naturally, yeah, yeah.
About
Awesome, man.
the very clear form of storytelling, you know, the dialogue instead of narration, and the very direct, upfront style of lyrics is actually because we also want this story to be comprehensible for children, for younger metalheads, because there is very little music for younger people in this world. So
now this is actually a really interesting component, I think, to what you guys do, because some people may not even realize this to the extent, like if they just come across the music on Spotify and whatnot. It's like, yeah, you have this vibe to it that, like, it's, as you say, it's obviously adults can enjoy this music. It's just epic metal music, you know. But like, yeah, you have kind of like really geared it in a way towards like kind of like a children's fairy tale,
exactly,
metal opera, right? And it's literally like, yeah, something that children could listen to, which is, yeah, really cool, man. Like that's unique. As you say, I don't know any. I've never, I don't think, seen anything that like specifically said that it was making metal like for children, or, you know, like family
friendly music,
family friendly metal music. Yeah,
exactly.
But that's awesome, because like obviously, you know, fantasy and such is so applicable to children. Like we'll tell our children fairy tales and things like that. And I mean, I don't know what music works better with fantasy than heavy metal, man.
Heavy symphonic metal always brings the best in fantasy. So
exactly, man, exactly. So I think it's really cool. I think there's, you know, a niche there that you guys have gone into that maybe nobody was expecting, you know. And I think that that's really, really cool. I mean, like your story, it kind of reminds me a bit of Narnia, right? I don't know if that's
yeah. It's one of the inspirations. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I thought so, because it has that kind of vibe, you know, where Narnia is like, you know, it's fantasy that's sort of orientated towards children, has like children protagonists, and then they get to meet all of these different magical beings and stuff, you know. So yeah, it's almost like if Narnia was a metal album, you know, then we got Woods of Wonders, you know. So yeah, right on, man. Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
And so we're like, I'm just curious, like kind of slightly off topic in a way, but like, were you doing a lot of music before Woods of Wonders? Like, I'm assuming that you've been into music for a long time. Like, when did you first get into music, and what's been your journey there?
Well, I started playing the keyboards since I was 9, I believe. So that's quite a while back. For those who don't know, I'm 24 years old right now. So
oh wow, nice.
Years ago. And started playing some simple stuff first, and then I started learning music by ear. So I've never really had any music class. Cool. And yeah, from there I got to here.
Cool. So were you just playing some keyboards for fun?
Yeah.
And when did metal come into the picture?
I believe when I was 13 years old, I heard Stratovarius for the first time.
Nice.
It's the song Elysium, I believe.
Nice.
And I started learning that keyboard solo by ear. And that way I developed more keyboard skills, started learning more solos. And then I even created a YouTube channel for solos, covers, you know, covering keyboard solos all over the place.
Do you still have that channel? Is it still up?
It's still up, yeah. But nice. I would like to ask
everyone, we're not going to share it.
To not look at it, because it's cringy.
Okay. I'm going to try and find it later, but I won't share the link.
Thank you.
Nice. Nice. So right before that, you were playing keyboards then.
Yeah.
But like, what did you start with, like classical music or what?
I can't really remember exactly, to be honest. It's been
You said you didn't have lessons, so I suppose
yeah,
you kind of picked it up for
yeah.
fun in a way. And then what? Like you came across metal, and then
And then I
it's been
started
all about that ever
learning
since.
solos, just the solos, and then I started developing an ear for music.
Yeah.
And back when I was 17 years old, I believe, maybe even
Hmm.
16 years old, um, I wrote my first song,
Hmm.
which you now know as "Woods of Wonders," our first song.
Oh wow!
So
Wow.
I
It's your
rewritten
first
it.
song.
I've rewritten it.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. Cool, man. Cool. And did you ever like look to play in any bands or anything like that?
To be honest, not really. Not really.
Hmm.
I just wanted to create my own music without having to constantly think about what other people want their music to sound like. It's a bit
Yeah.
selfish. I'm aware of that, but
As you said, I think it's better to just be aware of it. Like if you know what you want to do, then yeah,
it's just
you can just go
I,
with
I
that.
want this creativity freedom.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I know how it goes because, like, as a composer, especially when you're like trying to incorporate story and all that,
mhm.
you have so much just going on up here. Like, you have to make this whole vision, and then you're trying to think how the music goes with the words, with the story, and everything else. And it is quite hard to do that, like truly collaboratively.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I understand. I get that. And so, at what point did like I guess being a keyboardist first and foremost helped a lot, but like at some point you've obviously developed into essentially like producing music and doing like orchestrations and stuff.
Mhm.
When at what point did that come along?
Well, as I already told you, I was about 16, 17 years old when I
Hmm.
started writing music on the synthesizer, just using the sequencer function.
Hmm.
On the don't even remember what synthesizer it was back then, but
Hmm.
I just started playing a melody, the melody of the Wizard of Wonders, the I just started playing that melody, adding chords, adding some funny bits, some staccato strings as well, and that's just that was my first try. It was just a few chords, the
Nice.
melody, and the staccato strings. And
Nice.
then a few years later, I tried it again, and
Hmm.
I heard the first version of the song, and I was thinking, I can do better. So I started adding percussion, changing
Nice.
up the melody a little bit, adding a counter melody, and then I started thinking, hey, I can do better. And
That's it.
the
Nice,
first
man.
song was created.
And you were still sequencing it in the keyboard or in the
Actually, yeah,
synthesizer?
yeah.
Wow. So that piece essentially got written all
Mhm.
sequenced into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
synthesizer.
And then
Nice, man.
2021,
Mhm.
I actually discovered the existence of VSTs. I never even heard of them before that time.
Until
So
2021.
yeah,
Wow. Until
quite
last
late, but yeah.
wow. I mean you got onto that pretty quick then. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm assuming that what was did you make the album in 2021 or well, I suppose part 21 to part 22?
Part 21, part 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was another thing I was curious about actually is like I'm actually wondering what the album sounded like at first because now we have the finished album, right?
Mhm.
But like I'm guessing there was some demo version of the album and like yeah, all these tracks that you were sending
Mhm.
to all the different singers. So
Mhm.
like tell me if I'm wrong, right? But like did you essentially record an entire demo of the album and then do like all the voices yourself?
Mhm. Yep.
Wow.
Even the
I would
growling
love to
part.
hear that version.
Even the growling part. Believe me, you don't want to hear me do that ever again.
Wow. Wow, that must have been quite something. Like 30 vocal parts or whatever, all performed by you. I mean, Wow. Nicely done.
It felt really crazy to keep on talking to myself and then answering my own vocal lines.
Right, yeah, you were doing all the dialogue as well.
Spoken part of dialogues. Having a dialogue by myself. Very
Yeah.
interesting. I felt like someone with multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it must have been quite a schizophrenic sounding demo. Cool, man. Cool, and like you've mentioned, obviously you've come from being a keyboardist, and you're kind of like making music on your own terms. When you said you discovered VSTs and stuff, is that like kind of roughly coincided then with Charlaine coming in and saying like you should do something more serious? Like, did you decide, okay, I'll do it more serious, and then you discovered this stuff, or was it the other way around?
No, it was the other way around. Beginning of, I believe it was the beginning of 2021 when I discovered the existence of VSTs, and
Okay.
no, it was even earlier. It was halfway 2020, I believe. Halfway 2020, I discovered the existence of VSTs, and having an orchestra in your computer. So that's the way I discovered it. And then,
nice.
About 6 months later, I met Charlaine, and then she pushed me into Winds of Wonders.
Cool, man. I got you. Nice. So, so you created this from there, like, and you had this whole demo and stuff, like, but of course you actually performed one of the main roles on the album as a vocalist, and did an exceptional job as well at that. And I know that David Akesson mentioned the vocal coach, that, well, you said to me as well that you had a lesson with David and stuff, and then David said that he kind of pushed you into doing vocals.
He did.
So I'm interested, like, what was the thing with vocals? Like, so you weren't really a vocalist before that, or didn't see yourself as one?
I didn't really see myself as a vocalist. I was I always liked singing. Singing under the shower.
yeah. For fun.
Singing in the car, and I started thinking maybe I should take vocal lessons. So I just actually I was really scared because I wasn't a vocalist. I was a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So I just booked my first lesson with David, and then he said, "You're good. You should do it."
Nice.
So I started thinking, should I do it?
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. Well, I think that's great that you did it. I mean, you did an amazing performance on that album as well.
Really proud.
Yeah. So I mean, you're playing the part of Owen, which is like, there's Owen and Emma are the boy and the girl, like the main kind of protagonists. And so you have a prominent role there. And I mean, you're singing with like a ton of some of the best singers in metal, and really standing your ground there, man. So very nicely done.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad.
Yeah. Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Like, I certainly admire that, and you're very humble about it all. It seems like you're just kind of like, I just want to make music, man, and then like, boom, some epic opera comes out of it with Guinness World Record amount of metal stars. Yeah, very, very nicely done. And obviously Charlaine has her part to play in that as well. I mean, for maybe just so as well people can kind of know, like, what role would you say that Charlaine plays in it, other than obviously encouraging you and giving you the kick to move forward?
Obviously encouraging me into starting this project, so that's one. And then she's also managing the project, as you can understand. Working together with over 30 collaborators can be a bit difficult.
I bet.
So she's helping me with that as well, and setting up everything, the campaigns, well, obviously you help me as well with that, but also Charlaine is
Yeah, she's been there since the start, doing a lot. Yeah. Charlaine's really like doing a lot of the legwork. She's the unsung hero.
Yeah, exactly. She's also in charge of the website. So if you like the website, Charlaine made it.
Nice.
And
Yeah, cool.
she's also writing the lyrics together with me. We're working on that together, as well as the story.
Yeah, you mentioned that you kind of came up with the story together at first. So yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Nice. Well, shout out to Charlaine, unsung superhero there. But yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, she's often doing a lot of the communication, right? She's doing those emails. So I'm assuming that she had a big role to play in reaching out to all of these different collaborators. And yeah, nice. Yeah, nicely done. That's some good business for sure. Because yeah, as I say, that's got to be a hell of a task to manage. Like, you know, that many.
Yeah, she's doing a great job with that. So I'm really proud of her as well.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So, and I mean, you mentioned Stradivarius at one point, and you know, I think to some degree, you're wearing your influences on your sleeve, you know, with some things. But like, what other artists have like really kind of inspired you and like, you know, being a part of shaping, you know, who you are as a composer and such?
Well, Avantasia is one, because it's a metal opera. So I believe it's actually the Tobias Sammet is actually the one who came up with the term metal opera. So that's
that was the first album, right?
Yeah. And obviously Rhapsody, Fabio Leone, the old Rhapsody back in the day. When I wasn't even born yet. But really, the old Rhapsody is a big influence of mine. And Winter Sun.
Nice.
The symphonic elements of Winter Sun, I've always loved that. So that's really a big one for me as well. I can keep going on forever with this list.
Yes, I bet.
There are some smaller ones as well, like Floating Worlds. Actually, one of our guests is the vocalist of Floating Worlds, John Sowerty, and his music inspires me as well, just like Threads of Fate with the other John Pyers.
Yeah, Threads of Fate. Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's heavier, more darker. I really like Threads of Fate as well. Yeah, that's awesome. And what about outside of metal? Is it all metal for you, or do you have any other influences outside of that?
I do have other influences as well. 2 Steps from Hell, which is
right, but, well, it's like epic orchestration, film,
exactly,
trailer type music, isn't it? Yeah, makes sense.
Well, now you mentioned it, films as well. Always loved film scores.
Do you have?
I was also listening to the movie.
Nice. Yeah. Do you have any particular favorites, composers or scores?
Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Big and bombastic. Goes with the territory. Nice. Yeah. Do you have any particular favorite movies that he did, like the scores?
I think it's probably the most well-known one, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, right. Of course.
Love that score.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, like, yeah, that feeds in, like, you have the Pirate Queens, right? On, in the Woods of Wonders, and that was obviously one of the singles, and yeah, that's an epic track. And now you say it, like, I can kind of hear that almost Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. It has such a like epic orchestral build up, like But I remember that I upset you with that one because I said that the way that the chorus was and everything, it was kind of reminding me of ABBA. And I remember you just like I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go down, and it wasn't what we were going for. But I remember you saying like it was really kind of like Battle Beast, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, Battle Beast is definitely one of the inspirations as well. Beast and Black Battle Beast.
Nice, yeah. I mean, that man Nura is, wow, what a vocalist, man. I hope I pronounced her name right, but yeah, she is absolutely incredible, man.
She really is, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's just that, like, I mean, for me, that's a compliment. Like, I'm actually a huge fan of ABBA, and I think that obviously they're just such a household name that, like, their influence is everywhere, and I think that their influence is in a lot of European metal. You know, like more accessible melodic metal. I think when you have a big chorus like that with layered female vocals, you know, to me that's, you know, sounds great. But I appreciate that ABBA wouldn't have been what you were going for, so it's obviously a lot more epic than
ABBA is definitely not what I was going for.
Yeah, ABBA have some great tunes that, you know, if you imagined with some heavier guitars, it'd be like, oh yeah, so it'd make some good metal. In fact, did Avantasia or someone did some ABBA cover? I swear.
I believe Avantasia does have one or two ABBA covers.
Exactly. You know, you can't.
Advance. I believe the band Advance.
Mm-hmm.
With
man.
Ollie Hartman from Avantasia on vocals. So.
Nice. Yeah. I love. Do you like a place where I really got into Nura from Battle Beast is the did you ever hear these League of Legends albums? They have a band called Pentakill. Yeah.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah,
man,
with Jorn and
Jorn. Jorn and Nura are kind of like the main ones, at least on their last album, Pentakill 3. Man, that album was so good. That was like, I actually loved that, man. Like, that was I think I put it as my second favorite album of last year, only because the Seven Spires album was so good. Do you know that one?
Yeah, Seven Spires is awesome. I really like that band as well.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, they have that kind of connection, like you mentioned, Threads of Fate, because that's Jack Costo, right? Yes. Same guitarist, and then John Pyers, of course, plays the bad guy of Woods of Wonders,
exactly.
The Darkness. And like he was on a couple tracks, I think, from that album, Gods of Debauchery. Like, yeah, that's top-notch stuff, I think.
They're really good.
Yeah. And Adrian is obviously in she plays live with Avantasia.
Yes.
And I mean, how many times have you seen Avantasia? Because I know that like you've seen them like twice, I think, since we were chatting.
I just saw them once since we were chatting.
Oh, was it only once?
Sadly, I've only seen them twice.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I suppose it's just very topical, isn't it, to see a metal opera stage like that?
It's really awesome. They're really good on stage as well. So
speaking of which, I mean, like, I know that obviously with the nature of how you've gone about the projects, doing such a thing would be immensely complicated. But would you ever consider some kind of live adaptation of your music?
Maybe in the future, not in the near future, not anytime soon, but maybe. Yeah, I really would like that, but as you can understand, getting 30 singers or a few of them, and then a full band from all over the world together to play live shows, it's a bit tricky.
Quite a challenge, yeah. I'm with you. Like, if there was enough, like a lot of demand for it, you know, and I guess if you had a booking agent be like, oh yeah, man, I can sell loads of tickets, whatever. Yeah, I'm with you. But, you know, maybe we'll get there. We'll have to see. I'm sure that people would love to see that.
Well, I've seen some comments on Facebook as well that people really would love to see us live as well. But yeah, maybe in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Like, definitely gotta sell a lot of albums. You know, if the fans want that, then they can buy the album or get streaming. And if they do enough of that, then yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe one day
we'll be able to make that happen. Cool, man. And so like, what are your plans from here then? Like, I don't know how much you want to speak about right now, but like, the album's just come out, your first album. where do we go from here?
First of all, Charlaine and I are going to focus on planning the wedding, because that will happen
amazing.
as well next year, beginning of next year. So
Nice, congratulations.
we'll focus on that first, and then we're happy to write a second album. The story is not over yet, so.
Nice, man. Nice. That's very cool. Yeah, I mean, you left it on quite a cliffhanger at the end, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does allude to there being more to come.
It would be a crime to end the story right there.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So, cool, man. So you know, you're no doubt kind of playing around with some parts and having ideas. I'm sure that you can't share it, but you know, the ideas are going around in their head about this process again, the story, and who might be on it, and what music you're writing fits into it, and
I do have plenty of ideas in my head, but I'm not going to spoil anything. So
cool, man. Cool. Yeah, as I say, it's people have to enjoy this first album now that's out. I mean, it's such a big production that there's a lot there to enjoy. I said to you as well, like, I'm gonna need to listen to this a bunch of times, because there's so many things going on as well when you have all of these different guests, all these different parts. Like, yeah, it's an album to, I was gonna say, get lost in. The album, of course, is called Lost, just in case anybody didn't catch that, but like, I wasn't trying to be cheesy with the pun. But yeah, it really is, like, there's so much there that, like, it's something you want to be listening to again and again, digesting for a while. So yeah, great work, man. And I've listened a couple times, and I'm gonna keep listening for sure. Cool. So is there anything else that you would like to talk about, or any kind of message that you'd like to give, or etc.?
I think we've got everything covered from now. So for now,
cool, man. Cool. All right, well, dude, in that case, thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to chat to you.
Thank you so much for having me, William.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Creating a Universe. A big thanks to Gideon for joining me. I really enjoyed this chat. Be sure to check out Woods of Wonders and their debut album, Lost. It's available now on all major platforms, and you can get a copy for yourself at loveanarchyrecords.com. That's all for now, and until next time, take care.